Austin, you manufacture cigars, right?
Indeed.
You sell 3 cigars, 2 cigarrillos. They're all different lines. You have different boxes, wholesale and retail. Mm-hmm. You sell smoking novelties, lighters, cutters, what have you. Is this correct?
That is correct.
Well, I need a box, but not just any box. I want a purse for my wife. And at the same token, I want a briefcase. And you know where I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. Can you provide me with these?
Now, I want to tell you what's going through my head. Jose is not there right now. He's still frozen in time after asking me that question, right? So imagine if we could just freeze Jose. He's just frozen right there, about to ask me that question. Well, after asking me that question. In my head, do I know how to do what Jose just asked me to do? Fuck no. Not a clue. However, I do know I'm perspicacious, and I do know that I have a will to figure things out if I know them or not. So what I'm going to do when he asks me this, and also keep in mind, this is a person that's asking me this that is usually very loyal to me as far as service. He respects what I do, and he trusts in me to always provide whatever he asks for him. So in order to maintain that relationship, in order to show him that I am who I say I am, I'm going to say, unpause, Jose, yes, I can do that for you. Of course.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, so just give me some time to run the logistics by my team and I, and we'll figure things out and figure out what we need to do in order to make that successful for you. And then we should be able to show you some samples in some time. I'll get back to you.
He passed with flying colors.
There you go. And people might say, well, if you didn't know how to do it, then why'd you commit to it? You probably shouldn't do that because now you're going to have to figure out how to do this. And then if it doesn't work, then you're just going to look like a blah, 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 blah. If you're saying shit like that, in my opinion, you're a
bitch.
Okay. That's
I didn't know. I was processing all the words. I was processing every single word. I was like, which one is he looking for? And then I was like, the default is your bitch.
See, I wasn't going that extreme, but hey, when Jose said it applies. So I feel like if you're thinking that way, you're playing the game too safe. And if you play it too safe, you're not really going to ever win. Because if you're playing not to lose, then you're never going to hit the big one. And that's why a lot of people stay where they're at in life monetarily, especially, is because they're too scared to take the big risk. They're too scared to spend the fucking money to make the money. They're too scared to say, hey, I know how to do something that I don't know how to do, but I'm going to figure it out in this allotted time. They're too scared to do that. And that's why they never get anywhere. So what we're talking about today is being able to say, hey, look, yes, I'll do whatever you're saying, or yes, I'll figure out whatever you're saying, and then committing to doing that and actually figuring it out. And we'll talk about how you kind of doing this expedites the process of you learning whatever it is that you don't know how to do initially, figuring that out, fucking up fast, and then getting the knowledge quicker than someone who may say, you know what, no, I'm just going to wait until I'm a perfect fucking subject matter expert on this thing before I even fucking talk about it or do anything about it, you know? So, Jose, what are your thoughts?
I would like to preface this conversation with a story, actually, about supply and managing your supply with regards to your customers' desires or needs or preferences. So my uncle used to own a couple food trucks near Elgin. And interestingly enough, they weren't barbecue food trucks, because if you know anything about that side of Texas, everything is barbecue, and it's amazing. And your blood pressure goes up when you go there. Now, he had a breakfast food truck, and he would cook the recipes that his mom would make. And they're great recipes, but they weren't for the clientele there. And so as time went by, he slowly adapted his recipes and he changed things little by little according to the feedback that he was getting for the customers. And then he got to the point where he was making off of every single food truck a profit of around 40 to 60,000 per year. So if you have 2 or 3 of those, which he did, you're bringing an additional nice little $180,000 a year profit, which is not bad off of food trucks. And so the moral of the story there is you might like something, but your clients might not like it. You might be in a certain market selling a certain product, but those clients might also be demanding a spin on that product or an entirely different product, but they're going to come to you because you're the person who's meeting their needs. So anytime that you have a customized service or a product that meets a specific need, you'll begin to build a reputation with the customer. And as your reputation continues to grow and flourish, they're going to start relying on you, not just for products and services, but for other things, right. Recommendations, other products and services, or even an example in their discussion yesterday, they might even ask you to pay their electricity bill and front you the cash, or for you to pay their electricity bill, and they'll pay you back with interest or at a higher rate. Right. These are all things where you just build a reputation and you don't know what's going to happen and where it's going to happen. Because when you say yes for anything and you're able to complete, you're continuously showing that you're a person who is committed, who is reliable, and who is able to overcome unknown events. You're a person who's adaptable, who can find a way to make a way when there is no way.
Right. And another thing about this that most people don't think about, but you need to really emphasize is if you say no when someone's asking you to do these certain things, you're, again, kind of decreasing the trust someone has for you. Because imagine there's nothing better than a guy or a girl that someone can call that they know can fix or help them with something. That's like a do-it-all or know-it-all guy. Even if that person may not know it all or be able to do it all, they know someone who can do it. There's nothing better than having that person in your back pocket. We've gained a lot of those people that we can call and say, hey, do you have a lawyer? Hey, do you have an accountant? Hey, do you know this person for this particular club that I can get into? Hey, do you know someone who is very good with building things, or et cetera? Like, we have someone, or we know people who know of people that know what we need or how to get what we need. There's nothing better than that. So if you ever get into a position where someone is looking to make you that person or is looking to you as that person, you saying no and then not giving them any form of solution, whether that's you actually doing it or recommending someone else, you decrease the amount of trust that person has for you, even if it's by 1%. If you continuously do it, it's exponential. The more you say no, or the more you say, I can't do this, the more you can't solve this problem for them, they're not going to come to you. And you notice this with like friendships and relationships and whatnot. After a certain amount of time of you not being the answer and not knowing the answer, people are just going to stop coming to you in general for shit. Because it's like, what am I going to you for? Because you can't solve my problems. You can't help me with my problems. So same thing applies with business. And also you have to realize if you say no, the money that you're losing out on. Because when people ask you to do certain things that you may not be an expert in, they're still coming to you for this. And they're coming to you with the wherewithal that they have to pay you. So if you say no in that instance, you're turning down a potential new revenue stream for you, which in my opinion is not smart to do. And of course, there are certain instances where you may want to focus on your thing because you allocating too much time and effort to a completely new thing could potentially sink your main ship. However, I would say in a lot of instances, it's better for you to figure it the fuck out. And if you don't say yes to them, you're losing out on money, and your competitors can also benefit from you saying no. Because imagine if you say no, then that person that called you to ask you, hey, can you do this? They still don't know how to figure it out themselves, so they go call someone else. Now someone else is making that money that they were about to pay you, and that could boost their company standing compared to yours, which means that eventually their company may be surpassing yours because they can offer or they can provide more services than what you're willing to provide, which allows them more demand, which allows them more people that want to go to them to ask them, hey, can you do this? So doing things like that isn't really just a short-term negative, or it can be, but also it can be a long-term negative as well for your company if you say no to these things.
And really, it just comes down to your ability to solve problems.
Yep.
And I think it's important to know when to say yes and when to say no.
Right.
Within reason is when we're talking about saying yes. We're not saying yes to everything. It's, if they ask you something outrageous that's completely just...
It's like you're a car company that asks you, yeah, can you make us the best fucking protein bar on the planet?
That's a little different. If it's completely out of your domain and not even remotely related, then I would say you need to say no. But pretty much anything else under the sky is pretty much fair game. Now, the reason I say just find a way to solve problems is because this is actually a potential avenue that you can take and leverage later on in your career or in your business, in your field, what have you. Because if you're capable of solving problems, eventually you can just become a consultant. So we're assuming that you own a company or that you're working for yourself, that you might be a freelancer, you might be an entrepreneur, and eventually you want to either add an additional source of income or sell your company, and then you still want to have a source of income, which is why I recommend that you continue doing what you're doing and solving problems, even if sometimes it's breaking your neck, because you're opening the possibility that you can be a consultant and people can rely on you, which if you've paid any attention to the trend in the markets right now for any occupation, everybody's a consultant. And having a nice little 2-3 hour allocation within your week when you're a multimillionaire, being a consultant and adding like an extra 100 to 250 or more to your portfolio, never a bad thing. Never, ever, ever. And so the better you become, the more connected you become, the better you are as a resource, the better you are at solving problems. There's problems that we've had that we'll have just been stewing on it, looking for resources, boom, boom, boom. And then we meet a certain individual and they just, like that, solve the problem. And so, I mean, imagine that you're sitting there trying to repair your car and you're not a professional mechanic. And you're just struggling to diagnose the problem. You've switched and repaired 2 or 3 parts. You did this, you did that, you flushed this, you flushed that. You're still having problems. You take it to the mechanic. In 5 minutes, he's diagnosed the problem. In 1 hour, he's completed the repair. That's the difference between being a professional and a non-professional. And although you have to work to get to that level, sometimes it's better to pay the price for that professional. And you, my friend, need to work to be that professional. You could be an accountant and know a lot about law. You could be a business individual and know a lot about supply chain. You could have certain connections that you can essentially broker. So,
and I feel like it's important to say this, and this might be a little bit forward, but why we win more than you is because we're willing to say yes quicker than you. And we've talked about this before with just speed and velos and whatnot. But to bring it up again in this case, saying yes now and figuring it out later helps us fail faster. And when you fail faster, you succeed faster. A lot of people are more willing and more at ease saying, yeah, I'll just wait and I'll take some time to figure it out and learn, go to classes and whatnot, and do certain things through school, that I'll take that time, do it by the book. And then after I do that and I feel comfortable, then I'll do the thing. Now, I'm not saying fuck that for everybody, but in our opinion, I feel like, Jose, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think learning through experience is a lot better for you and builds you up more by just doing something by the book. Because if you're reading about it, it's completely different, in my opinion, than actually doing it and actually having the fucking consequences of you fucking up outside of a bad grade. No, if you fuck up, it's I lose thousands of dollars, or I don't know, I fucking ruin this fucking business's social following if I fuck up, or something like that. Actual real consequences. If you have that to experience, and even if you fail and you do fucking ruin that company's fucking social reputation, or you do lose thousands of dollars, now you understand how to move quicker the next time, as opposed to doing it through a book and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, this answer is A, this answer is C, blah 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 blah. Like, that doesn't hold much weight and have much bearing on you actually growing. But if you say yes quickly, and you have to figure it out because you have a timeline that you have to commit to, or you have just a commitment to the business that you're working with, or the person that you're working with, to provide this thing, it makes you have to figure it out. And in that way, for me, and for, I feel like, us and what we've done, it's helped us tremendously, because we were willing to take that chance and say yes. We figured the shit out way faster, or figured out how to fail way faster than most people, because most people would probably take, I don't know, months to a year to feel comfortable doing something. And we're like, hey, we're not going to wait till we're comfortable to figure it out. We're going to actually say yes right now, figure it the fuck out. In the meantime, between when we said that we're going to have to provide this thing, and then if we win, that's amazing. If we fail, whatever that is, whatever you view failure as, we'll figure it out. Now we know what to do for the next time, and then we refine the thing, and then we continue trying to improve on it. But while we're doing that, while we're going through that actual tough phase of figuring it out or refining it, most people are still thinking about even doing it, or still thinking about if this is something that they want to do. So that is why I feel like we win, is because we say yes faster to shit, as opposed to most people saying, I'll take the time to figure it out. While you're taking the time to figure it out, we're already learning how the fucking arena is built, where the little nooks and crannies are, where the areas in the arena where, you know, the sun hits you in the face, and if you're not paying attention to that, you could potentially get hit because the sun's going to hit you and you be caught off guard and shit like that. We already figured out all those little things that could fuck us up along the way that you haven't. So even if you figured it out via the textbook, once it comes to real life application, you're going to be fucking dead in the water and going to be caught off guard because you don't know what to expect. But we already know what to expect way quicker than you, which is why we win.
And it just comes down to speed. But I also want to make the point that in theory, always works better than in reality. Mm-hmm. And you touched on a good point there. You could read all you want. And we do recommend that. Read, prepare yourself, and understand the experiences that other people have gone through. However, I didn't know if you were trying to communicate something. I was waiting for the next sentence to come. So you should read, you should prepare, you should have a plan, you should consult with individuals and talk to relevant parties so that you have a valid point of expectation. But I'll tell you something. Imagine you work on Wall Street and the stock market crashes. You could read all about that shit. But until you're there, you've felt the stress, you've seen the panic, and you lived after and survived, then you can help in the next stock market crash. Then you can help prevent the next stock market crash. then you can help mitigate the problems in the next stock market crash. There's a lot of things that you don't learn in theory. You can summarize them, you can document them, but you can't complete them. I'm pretty sure everybody watching this podcast has taken at least up to calculus in their life. And if you haven't, let's say trigonometry. When you look at the damn board, in theory, that shit makes sense. But when they give you the fucking paper and you got to do that shit yourself, you go,
fuck. Damn.
What were these Greek letters? What was mu?
I was supposed to multiply that times.
Exactly. So that's why you have to do practice problems when it comes to math. It's the same thing for why you have to do practice trials and runs in life. Life is like a math test. If you practice, you'll fuck it. And if you don't, you'll get fucked by it. It's really true.
I'm not mad at that.
Listen, in business, you can get absolutely obliterated and blown to shreds outside of the water. Not only are you just in the water, that all because you wanted to play, but you weren't prepared to take the heat.
And we were just having a conversation with a woman yesterday, a beautiful, lovely woman. If you ever watch this, you know who you are. We love you. We were having a conversation with her yesterday, and she was explaining to us certain things that even if you read it in a book about this can happen for how people can fuck you over, you would not be prepared for what happened. And she's a very, very intelligent businesswoman and very inquisitive, but she wasn't able to learn the lesson that she needed to learn, in her opinion, unless she went through those traumatic experiences. So because she actually went through them and didn't go through them in theory, or didn't go through, certain things that were like that via reading a textbook, it helped her gain certain perspective as a business owner that she would not have gained otherwise, and which allows her to have the success that she has today and wherewithal knowledge that she has today because she went through that. Mm-hmm. So whenever you're trying to learn something new, I feel like I always recommend actually getting out and doing the thing. If you want to learn how to play basketball and score effectively on a person, you might want to get into an actual game or go to the rec or whatever and actually play a real game 5-on-5 to 15 with someone, as opposed to just practicing by yourself and just doing moves like a person was there. Because once the lights are on and that person gets in front of you, I promise you it's completely different than you just practicing by yourself.
The AM Club Podcast.
Signing out.
Mic check. The AM Club Podcast.